Guys, perhaps the game of the day. Indiana and Iowa was an absolutely outstanding watch. Watched it from the hotel room in Manhattan before going over to the Garden. I couldn't believe what I saw. Indiana goes up in this game by 7 late. Iowa did not stop with their offensive execution. How about Jordan Bohannon? How about Keegan Murray? And how about Fran McCaffrey's offense? When they needed buckets, they found a way to space and get those shots off and make those shots. And Jordan Bohannon banks in a shot that will live on in Big Ten lore forever. What a win for the Iowa Hawkeyes.
Yeah, and I want to make a point about Keegan Murray and the way that Fran McCaffrey uses him. And he understands the talent that he has in Keegan Murray. Like you want to, at some point, you just kind of want to give the ball to your best player and say, go make a play, go win us a game. And that's what Fran did tonight with Keegan Murray. It's what he's been doing the entire season. Like, look, Iowa, I think we've talked about this, fan, and you've made this point before. They're one of the more slept-on teams in college basketball. No one gives them enough credit. I don't think anyone gives Keegan Murray enough credit. And I think I've gotten to the point where I might consider taking Keegan Murray over someone like a Paolo Banchero. You watch the way that he plays, you watch the way that he shoots, you look at the things that he can do defensively. He's longer, he's not as physical, but he's more athletic. His game, I think, translates more to the NBA level than Paolo Banchero's does. Because Paolo is a physical, overpower you kind of guy, doesn't really have a left hand. And maybe that is just a byproduct, a byproduct of Coach K not doing what makes Paolo be his best, ISO him in the mid post, let him go to work. But Keegan Murray, he's a stud, man, and he guards.
He projects as a much better role player than Paolo Banchero.
Wow. You're saying, so you're telling me that a guy that had 32 points, 11 for 17 from the floor tonight, 8 for 10 from 3, the nation's third leading scorer, the highest scoring player, that he's a sophomore. He's a sophomore. Yeah. He is an absolute stud. And I'm not saying that I would definitively take Paolo Banchero over him. I'm also not saying that, or I'm not saying that I would definitively take Keegan Murray in the top 3. I'm saying that once you get past, I am taking Jabari Smith number 1. I'm taking Chet Holmgren number 2. And then I got to start saying, like, maybe Jaden Ivey, maybe Keegan Murray, maybe Paolo Banchero. Then you got to start having a conversation with yourself.
Okay, but it's Selection Sunday. And one of the things that we've often talked about is when certain networks always talk about mock draft. I like the mock draft, but I like a bracket more. It's Selection Sunday. How far can Iowa go? Realistically, how far can the Iowa Hawkeyes go in the NCAA tournament? Because when I've asked you guys, when we've talked about it on our pod, Doster, T.O., and Fanta, we're coming up on Monday with a new episode.
DTF podcast, pull out your Torvik.
That was awesome. What we've talked about, we've been like, oh, Illinois, oh, Purdue. Then Purdue, we cooled down. Then we went Wisconsin. Like, should we consider the way that Iowa's playing right now in that class of maybe going the deepest out of the Big Ten teams or no?
So I'm gonna let T.O. take this in a second, but I will just say they are really, really dangerous. I think that we should view Purdue and Iowa in the same vein. Teams that can get picked off in the first weekend, maybe even in the first round, teams that can also make a Final Four if they're playing at their peak on the offensive end of the floor, because they can't really guard.
Yeah, there's something to be said for that. And so if you want to continue to talk about point guard play button, I don't know where it's at, but if it were here, we would hit it. Point guard play, Jordan Bohannon, he's my age, guys. I mean, there's like, he is going to be ready to go. And he has been in every situation possible. I mean, what is he, 24 years old? He's been at Iowa for the longest. They know where he's. Yeah, he's been there. He's been there almost as long as Colin Gillespie's been at Nova, but it might be longer. But it's a team that has somebody to rely on. You have an elite scorer in Keegan Murray. Are they a Final Four team? I hesitate to say so, because Keegan Murray, for them to beat an Indiana team that's playing well, had to go for 31 and 8 for 10 from 3. If he's on, they have a chance to beat anybody. 6 games in a row, it's hard. It's hard.
Yeah, I don't know if they can win a national title. I can see a Final Four. I can talk myself into them getting to a Final Four at some point.